I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart I have but one desire, and that one is you. No other will do. I've lost all ambition for worldly acclaim. I just want to be the one you love. And with your admission that you feel the same, I'll have reached the goal I'm dreaming of. Believe.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the BOOM. And of course, I am your returning host with the most, Cam G. And of course, my co host at this time, of course, to the right of me, that is Phil Khan. And the man on the bottom of your screen is the man on the ones and twos, making sure the show runs smooth. That is Metalcore Mike. Gentlemen, how is your Wednesday evening going?
So I didn't, oh my gosh, as I'm trying to talk, I didn't know that it was supposed to rain tonight, and it's raining all day. 90 some degrees out, beautiful. The past couple days, it's been like in the 80s and 70s and stuff. The day I go back to work, it starts getting hot. Didn't know it was supposed to rain, and now it's freaking raining out.
It was supposed to rain today, and it just never did.
Well, the funny thing is the past couple weeks on a Wednesday night, it rained. Like it's literally on like we're on like a 7-week like span of just rain on a Wednesday night. Never fails. Next
That's
week it's
crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. Like every Wednesday night, the past 6 weeks, now 7, it's rained on a Wednesday night as we're live here on the Boom.
That's weird.
Yeah. It's like Mother Nature says, "Hey, guess what? Wednesday night, it's gonna rain in Allentown, Pennsylvania." Just to let y'all know. But everything's great. Good day today. How you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. You know, I'm glad to be back. Excited to be back for the Boom. You know, took an extended leave of absence for a little bit, get recharged. You know, so yeah, but I'm glad to be back. You know, so I missed it too, man. It felt very weird, not being on the Boom. You know, so
well,
it felt even weirder not being on Table Spot as well. So
I was just about to say, like, these past couple weeks, it's been kind of weird because you're so used to having you here on Wednesday night, right? And then these past 2-3 weeks, it's been me and Phil. And then we took off Monday night for the Table Spot. And I'm like, man, it's been a while since I've been on air with Cam. It's been good because you weren't on Table Spot last week either. You were off last week.
Yeah.
Mike Duplessis took over that night in your spot. So Mike. Yeah. So it was like, man, it's been a while since I've been on air with Cam. So I'm ready to go.
Yeah. So definitely missed the program. Definitely miss you guys for sure. But we're coming fresh off of a red hot All In pay-per-view this past weekend. Great show. And like I said, they hit on all the points that they needed to hit on for sure. And I think they are still riding high off of that. And that was evident tonight. I think tonight was a very solid show. You know, outside of I think maybe one particular match that was kind of like in the middle of the program. That was okay. It wasn't great. It was good, not great. But other than that, I think everything else was pretty solid. So without further ado, I think we're going to get into the program. So starting things off, we have a returning Jon Moxley, who we have not seen since I'm not even sure when.
Forbidden
Door. I think was the last time we seen Jon Moxley. So since Forbidden Door was the last time we seen Jon Moxley. So returning Jon Moxley, new kind of slow, kind of a different theme music that he has now as well. And he was not the fired up, intense John Moxley that we would normally see coming through the crowd. He was very stoic. He was very slow moving, and it clearly looked like there was something on his mind, as we could tell just by the way he was moving. And so he gets in the ring and he basically says that he's been doing a lot of thinking. He's been doing a lot of talking lately. He's been doing more thinking than talking. And the person that he wants to talk to more than anything else is Darby Allin. I don't know where this is going. I don't know what his business with Darby Allin, but it's very interesting. And before he ends up leaving, of course, he says, Darby Allin can talk to him. He's not a hard man to find. And as Tony Schiavone is going to move on and John Moxley was going to exit the ring, he then turns around and then he says, "This is no longer your company." Says it right to Tony Schiavone. I don't know where this is going. I'm not sure what he means by that, but I think who knows? Maybe he's leaving the BCC. Maybe he's going out on a solo venture. Maybe he's turning heel. I don't know. I think it's more of a heel turn, as what we saw later in the program, which we'll get to that as well. So I don't know, but you guys' thoughts on John Moxley, new entrance theme, new look, no BCC association whatsoever, just John Moxley. So I'm gonna get your guys' thoughts on this opening segment. Mike, I'm gonna start with you.
Yeah, John Moxley's days with the BCC is over. That's done. He's on his own now. That's it. I mean, they replaced him with Pac, and the rumors of the Lucha Brothers obviously not being there anymore. The rumors of them possibly going to WWE have been swarming throughout the past couple weeks. But John Moxley, he's on his own venture now. What he's talking about as far as what, us not owning or having ownership of AEW is still up in question. And the first thing I thought was, again, the swirling rumors of the possibilities of one, Shane McMahon. That's my thought.
Yeah.
I hope not, because this whole talk about Shane coming to AEW, it kind of puts a bitter taste in my mouth as a fan. Because when we got AEW, back in 2018, we got the All In pay-per-view, and it wasn't AEW at the time. But the inception of AEW in 2019, you thought, hey, a wrestling company without a McMahon name attached to it. Now there's a possibility there might be. It kind of puts a bitter taste in my mouth. It kind of gives me the vibe of like, is he going to come in and try and turn this into the second coming of a WWE ran by a McMahon? That's what puts because when you separate AEW and WWE, WWE is big on storylining. AEW is attempting it. Are they doing a great job at it? Probably not. Are they doing a decent job at it? Yeah, they're doing a decent job at it. But AEW is more of, wrestling for the wrestling fan, opposed to WWE being that storyline for the wrestling fan. So that's what kind of worries me, that is, if it is Shane McMahon, then I hope his hands, aren't in the pot of what they're going to do at AEW moving forward. For a second, I don't know about you guys, I had a small indication. I thought Moxley was going to attack Schiavone.
When he turned back to go back to the mic. Yeah.
Yeah. His body language was kind of telling me like, I have this feeling he's going to attack Schiavone. He just gave me that vibe. I'm glad he didn't, but it just gave me that vibe. So I don't know. We'll have to see what he means by the ownership thing, but I'm really, really hoping it's not these rumors aren't true. Really hoping.
Personally,
I think they are.
Personally, I think in terms of Shane McMahon, I'm all for it. Shane McMahon coming to AEW, I'm all for it. But I don't think it's what you think it may be. I think it may be something of that nature. In terms of like a storyline, I think, where Shane comes in, it's sort of this hostile takeover thing, but it's going to be more so in the storyline sense. I don't really think Shane McMahon has really any. I mean, it's just my assumption. I don't think he has any interest in wanting to do anything with creative or owning AEW.
If it's,
I think it's more so a on-screen thing.
If it's an on-screen and storyline thing, then I'll have an open mind to it. I'm gonna have an open mind to it either way, because I love AEW. I love watching Dynamite on Wednesday nights. Like I love the product that AEW gives us. Yes, do I like everything that they do? Of course not. That's everything that I watch. There's some things that I don't like, but I hope it's just that, and that they stick to it as just a storyline thing. Like, I know there's a lot of negativity and talk about what Tony Khan does as an owner for the company. Again, he does things that I don't like. So I'm not going to sit here and uplift Tony Khan in any way, shape, or form, or try and put him on a pedestal or anything like that. But I want AEW to get better in the form of on its own, and not that they had to bring somebody in that has, like, it's not bad to have that mind of somebody that's ran or helped run a business for 40, 50 years. It's not bad, but it just should stick as that, and let Tony do his thing and just get the opinion of what can be done better. And then he does it in his own way, opposed to going the way that somebody tells him he should be going. Because does he need help? Yes, he does. It's obvious. But I hope he just takes it as an opinion and goes his own route, and not goes the route that somebody's telling him he should go. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that. But Phil, your thoughts on this opening segment?
Immediately, I thought of Shane McMahon. Immediately, as soon as John Moxley was even talking about it. Well, when you said the line of, "This is not your company anymore." I'm going to have to respectfully disagree on the fact of, Shane McMahon coming on in only a on-screen type of capacity. Only because of the fact that I do think that if Shane McMahon does come into the company, and whether you agree with it or you don't, having a McMahon in another company is a huge deal. It would be a huge deal no matter how you try to spin it. But at the end of the day, if this is going to be an on-screen type of deal, then fine, we're going to have to figure out what Shane McMahon, John Moxley, Marina Shafir, when we get back into that sort of deal later on in the show, and whoever else could be a part of this, really could do and mean within whatever storyline they're trying to develop here. Secondly, you're 100% right on one thing, Mike. If Shane McMahon is brought into the company, the fact of the matter is he can help Tony Khan in whatever he needs help with, but he can't fully take over. And he should not fully take over, because AEW is Tony Khan's baby. He developed it. He brought it up from the ground. He brought it from the ground up. It's his company. So in one way or another, yeah, sure, Shane can help out whenever he needs it, but it should not be a whole full takeover type of deal to where it's 50-50, or hell, even like 75-25, if that makes any sense. Like, it should not go that route at all. I think Shane McMahon is ultimately going to be coming into this company. It's just a matter of how things are going to play out in order to get to that. But as soon as Moxley walked out and said, "This is not your company anymore," I immediately thought of Shane. But the fact that Moxley is back on AEW television is a great thing. And he's been missed, and we haven't seen him since Forbidden Door, so that right there is great. And the fact that he has no BCC affiliation in any way, shape, or form, that's also something to keep in mind. And ultimately, they just replaced him with Pac. And it's not like Pac is, a bad choice to replace him with, because he fits right in with the group.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
let's see where it goes.
As far as the Darby Allin thing, I mean, Darby Allin and Mox have history. They do. It's just the question of what he has to do with him. Could it be him asking him to join him? Because if this is John Moxley's, form of a hostile takeover, you look at Darby Allin's career in AEW, like the guy who was in there and basically, hands his body to everything, lays his body on the line every time it goes out. But you look at it and he's had 2 chances at the world title, failed both times. And he's held the TNT title, he's held the tag team titles. And that's it. That's it. The tag titles and TNT title. Tag titles once, TNT title, I think twice.
Yep.
So to get over that hump to get the AEW World Championship, that's what I think Moxley's more so going for, is trying to get Darby to join him in this hostile takeover to maybe help him get over that hump. Because at some point we got to see Darby Allin win the AEW World title. It's got to happen. I mean, the guy goes out there and sacrifices himself every time for this company. He's taking the risk. You got to look for the reward, and that's got to be the reward. And right now, the way that the AEW World title landscape looks right now, I mean, we had obviously, Swerve lost it on Sunday. We have Bryan Danielson who's holding it now. Christian's holding basically what is considered their money in the bank, because he can go after the title at any time now with that contract. Darby's the number one contender for the title. Swerve with defending it. If they go by the rematch clause, Swerve should get a rematch. And then Adam Page still wants to go after the world title. That's 4 guys in the world title picture right now. So who knows? I think it's more so him asking Darby to join him, other than going after him.
Who knows? Like I said, we'll definitely have to find out for sure. But next up, we had the conglomeration promo. Not a whole lot there. They're just hyping up their match later on in the evening. But next match, the first match of the evening, we had Hangman Page versus Tomohiro Ishii. We've been seeing a lot of Ishii lately. Not quite sure what role he's really playing. I think he's really just enhancement, really just getting over some of the talent from AEW, I think. And we got a comment. We have a comment before I move forward. Your next AEW World Champion is Christian. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be opposed to it, honestly. Christian Cage, I think, is great. He's doing great stuff. He's probably the number 1 heel in that company. And like I said, he did fantastic work with the TNT Championship. So I honestly wouldn't mind it. But we'll see. We'll definitely see what Christian Cage does.
I respectfully disagree with that.
And we'll see what happens. I'm not against it. Honestly, I'm not. Christian Cage is great. But so we've been seeing a lot of Ishii lately. Like I said, I think he's been used as enhancement talent, I think, for a lot of AEW contracted talent right now. So yeah, that's the only thing I could think of as why we've been seeing so much of Ishii lately. To start the match, they were going back and forth trading elbow shots. I literally went back, and yes, this is how much I care about this program, and I wanted to be specific. So I literally rewinded the beginning of the bell when the bell rung and counted how many elbow strikes they had between the two of them, and I counted 85 elbow strikes between the two of them.
What the fuck?
Can we say overkill? I think so.
Yeah.
So that's I think that's my biggest gripe about this whole match, was that went on a little too long. Just the whole elbow strike thing, and nobody really getting the better of either for a while. So that was my really big thing that stuck out to me as kind of an eyesore. 85. Yes.
That like legitimately doesn't even sound real. But the
85.
fact that you went back there and did that, hey, I got nothing else but respect, first of all, and B, I have nothing but to believe you in that sense. So who knows?
Insanity. Will Gray, what's going on? Thanks for checking out the Boom, obviously. But yeah, so 85 elbow strikes back and forth between the two of them. Absolutely insane. Again, then we had shoulder tackles back and forth between the two of them as well. Hangman gets He gets hit with the shoulder tackle from Ishii, pops back up. Immediately after that, after the break, Hangman absolutely spikes Ishii on the apron with a DDT. It literally was on the top of his head, which was insane. I've never seen it before ever. So that was crazy. But yeah, the result of this was obviously Deadeye, Buckshot, Hangman wins 1, 2, 3. I'm giving this probably a 3.5 out of 5. It was okay. It wasn't fantastic. I don't really see what Hangman beating Ishii really does for him and boost him in this imaginary ranking. I don't even know they do the ranking system
They
anymore.
don't do the rankings,
or if this pushes him towards
they do
the world title. I don't know, but I don't really see what him beating a New Japan star really does on or just a regular episode of Dynamite. No idea. But it was an okay match for what it was. It wasn't terrible. I've seen worse matches, trust me. But it was an okay match. So I'm giving this a 3.5 out of 5. The other move I wanted to talk about too before I move on, before I get you guys' thoughts, was the fact that I guess Ishii basically hit a dead eye of his own. And if Hangman had not had turned his neck or turned his head before he was dropped, he would have been dropped directly on his head. That was scary. That scared the living daylights out of him. This man was this close from probably not being able to move. That scared me. So, but other than that, though, it was an okay match. I'm gonna get you guys' thoughts on this match. Phil, get your thoughts on this match, Hangman versus Ishii.
I thought the match was fine for what it was. I want to touch on the segment before that with the whole conglomeration and Will Nightingale thing. Will Nightingale said that it'll be a Chicago street fight for her match against
Statlander
for All Out. So there was that, and that match is now officially made official for the show. Not this Saturday, but next. But like I said, the match was perfectly fine for what it was. To me, it was just to get a win for Hangman Adam Page because Hangman has been losing over the course of the last few weeks. And it really wasn't what happened during the match that mattered. It's what happened afterwards with the whole Swerve and Hangman promo, which I don't know if you are going to be getting into that. But yeah, that promo was absolutely fantastic. And I'm super excited for what they have planned for All Out between those two. So I don't know if you're going to go into that, but that was a really good promo between the two.
Mike?
So I was kind of doing my my producer duties here.
You need to just get a banner for whenever you say that.
My producer duties. So this is something that I came across as far as the ranking system existing. The answer is yes. They do exist, but they don't exist as much as they once did. They're not dead, but they have been toned down. So the ranking system's not gone. It's just been toned down a lot.
When was the last time they updated them?
April or May of 2024.
Dear God. Oh my God.
It's been a while.
At that point, to me, they are dead.
Oh.
But I get it.
That's crazy.
But as far as the match with Ishii and Hangman, I mean, I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't too into it. I wasn't. I gave this match a 2. Wasn't too into it. And like Phil said, as far as the segment afterwards, I mean, it was great. It was a great segment between these two. That's the thing is Hangman and Swerve, they've done nothing but given us great action and great matches. And you know, with what we're getting in 10 days between these two, I just don't see it being the end. These two have these two have probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest rivalry in AEW to date.
It's the most brutal one in AEW history.
Yeah, and we even said it after that street fight months ago that we can watch these two wrestle, you know, almost every event, and it wouldn't get tiring because of what they do. So I'm excited to see what they do it All Out. The one thing I'm really concerned about though is, and I said it many times, that Swerve was one of my favorite world champions. And I hate saying the word was. I really do. But he was. And I really hope they don't get too far away from him getting back to it.
Yeah.
Because he's done great work with that world title. And I know a lot of people are like, Christian becoming the new world champion because of the contract, or this person winning the world title, that person winning the world title. Well, I'm going to say this: I want Swerve to get that belt back.
He'll get it back. I fully believe that he'll get that back one way or another.
I understand what they're doing with Brian. I get it, but I don't think Swerve should have even lost it in the first place. And I've been saying that for weeks, that he should never lose it. I mean, just think that could have been our title match at all out. Hangman and Swerve for the title. Sign me up. What's up, Virgo?
What's up, Virgo? Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was getting into that as well. Swerve comes out after the match with Hangman, comes face to face with his longtime rival. He says he may not have gold around his waist anymore, but he will always be referred to as world champion. And of course, the challenge gets thrown out for a steel cage match at All Out. Like I said, as you said, Mike, sign me up. I think it's gonna be a great match. I think this, and to your point about, I don't think this is gonna be it. I don't think it's gonna be it either. This is one of those rivalries where they're destined to do this forever. If I can make a reference to comics, it's Batman and Joker. If I can make another reference to other feuds in wrestling, it's Shawn Michaels and Triple H. It's Stone Cold and Rock. It's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They're destined to do this forever. At this point, it's literally going to go down in history of AEW as probably one of their greatest, if not their greatest feud of all time.
It's the most violent rivalry that AEW has had for sure.
Absolutely.
I compare it more and there's always great comparison. Like, we can compare it to many, many rivalries. The one rivalry I compare this to is Cena and Orton, because Cena and Orton in the past, they get into a rivalry, they get away from it for a little bit, they can get right back into it and not miss a beat. These two can do that. So, and there, again, other rivalries that can do that. There's been other rivalries that can do that, but Cena and Orton, just for me personally, give me the closest to the comparison.
And here's the thing, Mike. We've been talking about how AEW and Tony Khan have been really good at the notion of doing best of 5, best of 7, without even realizing that you think that it's actually a best of 5, best of 7.
Yeah.
This is the 4th match between the two that's going to happen. The 5th match, to me, and I personally believe this, and this is just a prediction here, this is just a hunch I have, that 5th match will be for that world title. I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know when if that is going to be the case. But this is match number 4. And if match number 5 comes to a head and it's for that AEW World Championship, who knows what can happen.
I think I definitely think I like the way you think, Phil, for sure. And I think it's going to be some time between then and a world championship match between the two of them right now, just because the world title is so far away from both of them right now. And the more they continue to feud and the more they continue to have matches, the further it's going to get away from both of them. And like I said, I'm with you, Mike. Swerve should not have lost that match. I was rooting for him. Still such an incredible match, though. Great match. The storytelling just had me just so in tune to everything. I get goosebumps just talking about it. It was so good.
See, but that's what scares me, is just what you said. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but that's what scares me, and what you just said. It's so far away from them. Swerve lost the title 72 hours ago. Over 72 hours, little over 72 hours ago. And he's already so far away. You know what I mean? So that's what kind of sucks. Like, it's only been a little over 72 hours.
Well,
I was gonna say Paige is 0-2-1 against him, and it has to be a best of 7. Yeah. Because they had that tie, and then Paige lost 2 times. So, I can see Paige winning this one at All Out and getting a win, making it 1-2-1, and then him winning the next one, making it 2-2-1, and we get to the 7th match, or we get to the 6th match. Could possibly end up being a tie, 2-2-2, and then that 7th one, we get an initial winner.
Yeah. The 6th match could be a draw, and then all of a sudden,
that's what I mean. It comes down to a draw. They tie again, and 2-2-2.
Yeah, number
No.
7. Is that it? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that thinks this, but I don't even know if a steel cage is even enough for these two.
It's not.
Like I'm just like a steel cage. We're over a steel cage. We're past
Like,
that. You know,
like it's a
like,
it's a great way to progress things, but this is nowhere near the end.
no, not at all. No, I don't feel that at all.
My final thought on this is I can see them wherever they decide to end their rivalry. I could see them ultimately getting to somewhere like an Iron Man match.
Oh,
I
yes.
see them getting to that rivalry.
That's a good deal. That's a good
Absolutely.
deal.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Yeah,
And I know AEW has never really done this, but hell, I mean, if I was thinking in a WWE sense, even at 3 stages of hell,
I think that AEW has only ever done 2 Iron Man matches, Pac and Kenny Omega, and then we got another one between
Danielson and
it was
MJF.
MJF and Bryan.
Yes.
Yeah.
MJF and Bryan, which was one of my favorite matches of the entire year that year.
Dude, that was an incredible match.
But yeah, I mean, you know, an Iron Man match works. I know this is not WWE, but hell, even like doing the 3 stages of hell type deal, doing that kind of thing would be really cool. But yeah, I'm liking that Iron Man stipulation idea for sure for their final.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know what the world title scene is looking like for All Out. I guess Danielson and Jack Perry. Spoiler alert for the ending of this program. But yeah, so probably Danielson and Jack Perry for All Out main event. But I'm telling you right now, I don't think that's topping what we're in for Swerve and Hangman. I think they're going to tear the house down. Personally, I do.
I think Jack has a ton of heat behind him, especially when he gets to Chicago. But we'll get to that.
Absolutely.
We'll get to that when we get there.
But moving on, we had a returning Jamie Hayter versus Harley Cameron. This marks the return of Jamie Hayter in 15 months, which is absolutely insane. She's on fire right now. She looks great. She doesn't have any ring rust that I could see. She looked absolutely fantastic in this matchup. Like I said, I don't know where they're really going with her and Paige. I think they're kind of closing that up just because of the whole injury that she had the last time we had seen her on our screens. And then they probably move her on to something else. And I would hope that involves the Women's World Championship, because her and Mariah May will be an incredible match. That will be awesome. Yes. Mariah May versus Jamie Hayter, take my money.
You don't want to waste that. You don't want to waste that match, though.
No,
you don't. I wouldn't want to do this too soon, but I definitely wouldn't want to do this until it's too late. Like, you got to save that for the right moment.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, so like I said, once again, clothesline for Jamie Hayter was all she wrote for this match. I give this match a 3 out of 5. Love the interaction afterwards with Saraya, obviously. Like I said, great stuff. And like I said, Jamie Hayter's over. She's over. Like, the fan, they love her, obviously. So she's obviously going to be, she could potentially be the face of the women's division. I don't know. It's very possible. But I'll get you guys' thoughts on this match. Jamie Hayter versus Harley Cameron. And Mike, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I gave this one a 2 as well. There wasn't much to this match. You blinked and it was over. That was it. I mean, Jamie Hayter and Harley Cameron did what they needed to do tonight. And I mean, Jamie Hayter, obviously, she's in a position to where, you know, she got injured. She was the women's world champion when she got injured. And there's, you know, the talk about her coming back, getting a title shot and everything like that. I mean, I know I have a huge problem with that, with certain things of, you know, returning superstars getting title shots, or, you know, stars coming in right away and getting a title shot without working towards it. I think Jamie Hayter is going to be one that gets worked towards it. I don't think we're going to see Mariah May and Jamie Hayter until probably like Full Gear, November-ish. Maybe even, you know, get us to World's End in December. You know, I think Jamie Hayter is going to be one to have to work. That's going to be the one to work up to the world title, especially with everything surrounding the world title right now. With Mariah May and, you know, Toni Storm, wherever Toni Storm's going to be in the next couple weeks. But I'm glad to see Jamie Hayter back. Real quick on this. And I know her return was a little, you know, anticlimactic, to say the least. You know, you did it on the pre-show, to your biggest pay-per-view of the year. And they could have done that so much bigger for her.
Yeah.
You know, whether it was her coming out after one of the women's title matches, the TBS title, or, you know, the women's world title, or they found a segment to do it. Just created some segment like a backstage interview with Mercedes or Mariah after winning their matches.
Here's the
They
thing.
could have done it bigger. So to do it on a pre-show, I get it. They did what they felt they needed to do with her return. But even again, with a backstage segment after Mercedes or Mariah won, to have her show up there would have probably been a little bigger and better than what they did on Sunday.
Here's the thing with me. You know, that segment that happened on the pre-show would have been a perfect buffer, like in between a match. To me, like if you wanted to do this on the main card with the full capacity crowd in the building, you could have had. I don't know. I don't know where I probably would have fit it, but you could have had a match that happened on the show, and then all of a sudden you hear Soraya's music hit. And you could have literally done the exact same segment. You could have had her come out there saying, look, this show is almost over. You know, last year I was in Wembley Stadium winning the women's world title, and here I'm not even booked on the show. And then all of a sudden you hear Jamie Hayter's music hit. You could have done the same thing, and it would have gotten a huge pop because obviously Jamie Hayter's back, and it's in a full capacity crowd at Wembley Stadium. You could have done this entire segment on the main show, and it would have showed up in a bigger capacity because of it being on the main card. I just didn't like that it was on the pre-show. I didn't. I just didn't think that it was, you know, a big moment like that and a big return should not have only been on the pre-show to me. And you easily could have done that maybe in the TBS title match too, because Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker, you have that history and could have evened up the odds. But Jamie Hayter's back, and that's all that matters to me.
I agree with you that they could have done that on the main, like that segment on the main show. But that's the thing is when you watch AEW pay-per-views, it's very rare that they have a backstage segment or any type of other segment other than a match during the main show. They're very quick on getting things in the ring. You know, a match ends, and if they have a promo video for the upcoming match, they show that, then they get in the ring. It's very rare that we get a backstage segment or any other type of segment during the show. It's a rare thing. So I agree they could have done that, but again, it's a rare occasion that they have any other type of segment during the main card.
Yeah, we didn't even get an attendance announcement for All In, which I thought was very weird because usually you'd think they do that for a stadium show like that, but they didn't even do that. And then, you know, like I don't know. I'm just glad that Jamie Hayter's back, and you know, getting into the match that she had here with Harley. I thought the match did exactly what it needed to do. You know, she got a win, and you know she's trying to finish this thing up with Saraya because, you know, I had to be reminded of this, but Saraya was a part of the whole Outcast thing. Was a part of the whole Outcast, and the Outcasts were the ones that took Jamie Hayter out in the first place. So I had to get reminded of that, but I did. I got reminded of that, and now they're just going to tie that up at All Out. And once that is taken care of, then we'll see what Jamie Hayter has for her future now that she's back into the fold. So there you go.
We'll definitely see what happens with that. Obviously, next up, we had a promo from the former AEW International Champion MJF. MJF comes out all taped up, feeling the effects of All In, the match with Will Ospreay. He first denounces his American citizenship. He tells the whole world that they know that he had Will Ospreay beat, and then he says that Will Ospreay had to cheat in that match. So again, great heel work from MJF as always. And then he says that eventually one day Will Ospreay will be good enough to have that opportunity to win the biggest prize in company, which of course is the AEW World Championship. But MJF claims that he will be there to cut him off at the knees. Again, like I said, great stuff from him. And then of course, we then get a recently returning Daniel Garcia. As soon as he misses Daniel Garcia comes out and is all over MJF. He's determined to hit a power driver from the top rope, a tombstone power driver, which was hit on him by MJF, which took him out for a number of weeks. So again, good stuff from Garcia, good stuff from MJF from this promo. He says Garcia then cuts a promo afterwards. Garcia says that I know he's looking for his Dynamite diamond ring, which he pawned off so he could take a round trip to ruin the biggest night of his life in All In. And I love it. Love it. Good stuff from both of them. A match is thrown out for All Out between Daniel Garcia and MJF. Obviously, afterwards, he then throws the mic at MJF, which that was hilarious. Like he throws the mic, and it's like pinpoint accuracy, like from the ring to all the way to the entrance ramp. That's crazy. That's insane. But I love it. I love the intensity from Daniel Garcia. This makes Daniel Garcia look like an even bigger star, obviously, and I can't wait to see that match between him and MJF. I kind of think a stipulation needs to be added. Again, I think this feud is getting to that point where I think it's a little bigger than just a regular singles match. But yeah, we'll definitely see how that pans out, though. I'm definitely excited to see that match at All Out. But I'm gonna get you guys' thoughts on this particular promo from MJF and Daniel Garcia. Mike, I'm gonna start with you.
Yeah, I mean, this was a great segment between these two. I mean, the way they are spotlighting Daniel Garcia now is much deserved. I mean, this guy, the dancing thing obviously bothered me. Made that very well known. I'm so glad he got away from it. Because now we're getting the Daniel Garcia that we know we should have been getting. And their match at All Out. And I'm looking at there's 5 matches on the card right now. The way it looks. The way I'm seeing it, because I'm looking at it right now. They're the only match that does not have any type of stipulation to it. And what I mean by that is we have the international title match already made. We obviously know. The world title match is on the card already. And then we got Swerve, Hangman in a cage, and Willow and Chris Statlander in the Chicago Street Fight. This one just says MJF, Daniel Garcia, singles match. I'm like, these two need to have something to it. It doesn't have to be a street fight, false count anywhere, something.
Yeah.
Something, because these two we know are not going to stay. I mean, they'll probably stay in the ring. But I have a feeling they're going to spend more time on the outside than anything. Beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is going to be the last time we see these two. It's not.
No.
If it is, then they are wasting what they can potentially make a really good story without a championship involved. Because Daniel Garcia is getting the spotlight finally that he deserves, and he's going to be in there with one of the best young rising stars in professional wrestling in MJF. So
agreed. I definitely agree with that for sure.
With that.
Great segment, and that freaking throw of that microphone is freaking amazing. Oh my god, that was great.
That was literally pinpoint accuracy. Like, he has to play darts for a living, because that was right on target. Yeah, I thought this segment was fantastic. Truthfully, MJF, he's just great at what he does, and I understand many people, like you talk to some people here and you talk to some people there. They'll tell you one thing that they don't like about MJF, and that's perfectly fine. It depends on what you like in pro wrestling, but MJF has done amazing stuff since he's been back. And Daniel Garcia, to me, I've always seen the potential that this kid has. And I'm so glad that they're finally capitalizing and finally putting that momentum to good use. Daniel Garcia's return was fantastic. And now you have this match between him and MJF at All Out, which is 100% the perfect destination to do it. And I am not, I agree with you guys on the sense that there should be something more than just a singles match between the two. But I'm fine with it being the singles match at the start and then it progressing, because like you said, Mike, I don't think this is the final time we're seeing these two in the ring. And this should not be. And this shouldn't be. Because you have a great thing going here between the two. And you don't want to squander the equity that you already built within this to get it to a second match, a third match down the line. So I'm fine with it being a singles match for right now, a normal matchup per se. And then once we get this thing going into deeper levels, then you bring in the stipulations. But overall, I thought this was fantastic, and the match is going to be great come all out. And trust me, once this feud is done and over with, then I can see Daniel Garcia going for championship gold down the line, and I'm putting him in that international title picture.
Absolutely, for sure. The next match we had was a multi-man tag match with the Conglomeration versus the Learning Tree. I don't have anything written down for this necessarily. The only things I got written down literally are the facts that, of course, obviously, still the Conglomeration is something I'll probably never get used to. It's just a horrible name. And again, with the legal man nonsense, there was a point in the match where Roderick Strong was just teeing off on whoever that was he was teeing off on. And, Aubrey Edwards was trying to get him out of the ring because he wasn't the legal man, blah, blah, blah. I've made this gripe tons of times before. I hate that, just a legal man thing. If it's a tag team match, okay, I get it. If it's a 6-man, okay, I get it. If it's more than a 6-man, if it's an 8-man, 10, 12-man, 15-man, just throw the legal man out the window. It doesn't even matter because you're expecting your audience sitting at home, even in attendance, to be able to keep up with who's the legal person. And it's like, who cares? Just let them go. So that's something I'll always gripe about as well. And then I think that's pretty much about it. I mean, this was just the middle of the match, middle of the road kind of match filler. Essentially, this is the one portion of the show that I really had a gripe against. Everything else, during the course of this program seemed to really flow. This was just like the filler of the evening or whatever. I gave this a 2 out of 5. I cannot forget the ending, which made 0 sense. So Hook locks in Red Rum on Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong's foot is then under the bottom rope. Now, one of the matches at All In, I can't remember which match it was. It might have been the MJF match, I think. But they had said that when your foot's under the bottom rope, it's a rope break. I think Taz said this, but it's a rope break all day long, every single time. I started thinking to myself, like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure I've seen a couple of different matches from either company where the person has gotten pinned with their foot under the bottom rope and they said nothing about it, especially in AEW.
This definitely happened in history for sure.
Exactly. So I'm like, I don't think that's true, Taz. I really don't think that's the case. But so he locks in Red Rum, and of course, I believe he taps out, but his foot's under the bottom rope.
No, his foot was literally on the rope. He didn't tap out at all. I thought it was a pinfall.
Yeah, so I don't know. His foot was on the bottom rope the entire time, clear as day.
It was touching the rope too. It was touching the rope.
Like it was under the bottom rope, hooked on the bottom rope.
Yeah.
And so, then of course, on commentary they say, oh well, Aubrey didn't see his foot. How did she not see his foot? She got up to signal for the bell to ring and stepped over his foot.
It was a pinfall.
I'm like,
1, 2, 3, immediately rung the bell when the foot was hooked in the rope, and she didn't see it. Like, how do you not see that?
Yeah, I don't know. So that's definitely the one thing I can say that really stuck out to me is very strange. I'm not sure what happened there. No idea. Maybe it's designed for this feud with Learning Tree to continue. I don't know.
The design, because if they're clearly that oblivious, then I don't know what the hell's happening. Bryce Remsburg also falls into this category of making himself look like a complete idiot in matches that he's involved in, and it's like you see things happening. I know you do. You can't just be that oblivious, and if you are, you have to be doing it on purpose.
They just put the blinders on, apparently. I don't know. I gave this match a 2 out of 5. There's not much to it. It was entertaining for what it was. It's just the ending just really did not make any sense. But I'm going to get your guys' thoughts on this match, Conglomeration versus the Learning Tree. Phil, I'm going to start with you.
This was just a match built on. I like that, how I felt about it. And I really didn't have much to go off of other than that point. You know, with everything that is going on between Hook and the Learning Tree, and now with the Undisputed Kingdom, because now apparently Roderick Strong wants the FTW Championship. I don't care. Look, I'm glad that Hook got the FTW Championship back. But as soon as Hook got that FTW Championship back, he should have handed it to his father, retired the damn belt, and go on to do bigger and better things. I have said this multiple times on this platform, on this podcast, on this show, with Mike by himself when we were doing this show by ourselves the last few weeks, and here with all the three of us. Hook needs to do more than just the FTW Championship. And if you don't allow him to show that potential and the possibility of what he can do after FTW Championship, you're not going to know what you have in him until he is gone. So,
Well said.
this Hook and Roderick Strong match,
Don't
I'll
care.
sit down and watch it. I'll sit down and enjoy it because it's Hook and Roderick Strong. They're probably going to have a good, solid match between the two. But are you telling me right now that that is going to be a huge program on your television show for the FTW Championship? I'm not invested, and I'm not interested. And I'll say this. Last point before I'll let Mike speak. And Mike, I'm going to be addressing this to you, man, because, you know, Chris Jericho was, you know, doing something with that FTW title.
What was that?
You know what I'm talking about. You know, I've said it on here with you and agree with you a couple of times on this point that Jericho, whether you like him or whether you don't, he was at least doing something with the title.
One more time.
I love Hook, and you know, Hook is my man, but the FTW Championship is going to go right back to obscurity if they don't do anything with Hook. So there you go, Mike. There's your praise. No, good job. I praise you. I applaud you. Now we got to figure out what the fuck we got to do with Hook.
The FTW title is already there. The obscurity is already back. Hook he's back to square one. He's back where he started.
The feud with Jericho really did nothing for Hook, and it's like you could have really done something there, but it just didn't do much.
Cam, I don't think you were here for this question, and I asked this question a few weeks ago.
I'll be right back, guys.
The fact that the FTW title, obviously unsanctioned, doesn't mean anything. You know, it's not in the record books, anything like that. It's obvious. But I want to ask you, and be completely honest. If you disagree with it, you know me. You disagree with it, I'm cool. Like, I'm not going to fight you on it. It's your opinion. Chris Jericho, these past 127 days as champion, at least gave some type of meaning to the FTW title, even though it means absolutely nothing. Made you care? Did it make you care a little bit about that title around his waist?
Not really.
Okay, that's fine.
Not really. I mean,
everybody feels different about, like, when I ask people that question, I get different answers all the time. Like Phil just said that he agrees. You don't agree. Obviously, people in the chat, you know, Jax disagrees. You know, Scowls disagrees. Like, people disagree with me, and that's fine. That's fine. Because, as I always say, us as fans, we have our own opinion. And that's the great part about having our own opinion, is we can have discussions about stuff. It's just a matter of, you know, whether you respect each other's opinions or not. And I respect your opinion of saying no. That's fine. I just get that feeling, like, it just, the reason why I say that is because when you look at the history of the FTW title being in AEW, and I know it's been around in ECW, I know that. I'm talking about the history in AEW, in the modern era of today. This championship was brought in, given to Brian Cage literally in his first week because he was under the tutelage of Taz. Okay? Then we seen it go on Ricky Starks and Hook and other people, Jack Perry, have held this championship, have done nothing to at least give it some type of care or meaning. It was just there. Where Jericho kind of treated it like it was an actual sanctioned championship that meant something to AEW. Even if you go back to his days as Ring of Honor World Champion, okay? The Ring of Honor title, and by all means, I respect the Ring of Honor title. I do. To 100% completion. Chris Jericho even got bad, talk about him being the Ring of Honor champion. But if you look at the past champions in Ring of Honor, and you were there for this discussion, Claudio Castagnoli, he wasn't always on TV with the title. Chris Jericho made sure that belt was on TV every moment he was on TV. Just like Briscoe's doing right now. Every moment he's on TV, that title is around his waist, on his shoulder. He's giving meaning to the Ring of Honor title and the Ring of Honor championship. Ring of Honor is not even on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And he's giving it meaning. The FTW title, these other guys that held it have not given it anything. Jericho treated it like it's a world championship, like a championship of its own. And it started literally giving me some care for this championship that I really don't need to care about. That's why I just had to bring that up, because this is how I feel. And I wanted to ask other people this question. And I respect other people's opinions. I do. If you say no, hey, awesome. Then your answer is a no. Because not everybody's going to feel the same that I do.
I mean, I think what ultimately would have made me care about it. I think the only thing that's really going to have me care about this title is if the company themselves starts to care about this title. Like they said, okay, we're going to take this title under and add it and actually make it an official championship. We're going to take it, we're going to redesign it, make it look all nice or whatever. We're now calling this the AEW FTW Championship. Okay, now I'm interested. Now I'm invested. Now I'm intrigued. What are you guys going to do with this championship?
So if
who's going to be your champion? Huh?
If they were to sanction this championship, you would have care to it.
Yes,
because of it having the official stamp of approval, sanctioned meaning to it.
Yep.
Okay.
To me. And for me, I think in its early days in AEW, when it was with like Brian Cage or when it was with Ricky Starks, Brian Cage being the first, it made sense because I took it as, okay, Brian Cage is with Taz. So Taz is putting this championship on, who he's tutoring or who he has under his wing at the time. It made sense. When the further it got away from Taz, the more it made less and less sense. So it's on Hook right now. That's Taz's son, true, but it's not like he's coming out with Taz right next to him every single week.
It's not like Taz is his manager. Yeah.
Now, if he were to come out now, I think that would change. I think that would change my thought a little bit. And that's the crazy part. This is the crazy part. Is I would probably care a little more with it being on Hook if I seen Taz come with him. If I seen Taz, doesn't even need to be by his side, because Taz has done a great job as a manager, because what he does is he doesn't stand in front. He doesn't stand aside. He stands in back. He lets the star be in front. And that's important, because that's who's in the ring. That's who we're supposed to care about. And that's what Taz does. So if Taz were to come out walking behind Hook, with Hook having that title on his shoulder, around his waist, in a suitcase, whatever, it probably would have a little more meaning and matter. And then on top of that, it's a championship created by the man himself, and it's his son. There's even more right there. But they're not doing that. And I get it. I get it. There's the whole Taz can't have any physicality. Okay, well, no other managers really do other physicality. Look at Don Callis. He comes out with his guys, and what does he do? goes over to the announce table and talks. So why can't Taz do that when Hook's in the ring? Does it already. We know he can do it. So why not?
Yeah. So like I said, for me, it's really just all about presentation.
And-
And you do have a point. I mean, Jericho did, I think, a little bit more. I think he put a little bit more effort in showcasing the championship. But for me, I think it's it's also about just what the championship has been through. And it's just like if they had done that, they could have done that with anybody early on, and they just didn't. And so it was just like it's kind of late for me right now to really care about the championship that has not really been taken care of since its inception in AEW. So
and the last thing
that's how I see it.
The last thing I want to say though is what's crazy, and I say this about a lot of other things, is what's crazy is whether you care about it or not, what are we doing?
Talking about it.
And we've been talking about it for the better part of 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not us talking. So in some way, shape, or form, whether it means something to somebody or not, it still has somewhat of a meaning because we're talking about it.
We want to care.
Conversation.
We want to care about all assets of the show, whether it's in the beginning of the card, the middle of the card, the end of the card, and the main event scene. We want to all care about every aspect and every asset of the show. It's just a matter of getting us there. And right now, that FTW championship, I hate that it just automatically went back to obscurity, but but the fact of the matter is I love Hook, and you guys know Hook's my guy. It's just...
Phil, here's the thing, is you say it went back to obscurity, but he's only had that championship 72 hours. So I'll say this. No, I'm going to say this. I respect your judgment of it going back to obscurity. That's what you say. But I'm going to give it a chance and see what he does with this time around before I can give a full assessment whether he goes back to obscurity with it or not. Do I have a feeling? Do I have a feeling he's going to? Yes, I do. I have a feeling it's going to go right back to that point. But this time around, I'm going to sit and think, okay, it was on somebody that tried to give it some type of meaning. Let's see if Hook can back that up by doing that.
Hopefully I'm wrong, and I really do hope that I am, because I want Hook to succeed in more ways than one, honestly. But it's just a matter of how they actually do it from here on out. I will say this though. And you know what? I guess I won't say it because I just lost it immediately.
It happens.
And, if I think about it, if you guys don't mind, I'll probably just say, hey, I finally figured it out. But go ahead, move on.
But yeah, next we had Mercedes Moné. She's obviously celebrating retaining her title at All In. All that's great and all, and I'm a huge fan of Mercedes Moné, but the problem here,
what the hell was Zay doing? Was Zay trying to shoot a shot?
I don't know. I think he was. He definitely was. Definitely was. I mean, he has a point. I mean, she is single now. We do know this.
Zay trying to shoot a shot. Okada being the protective brother in a sense. I don't know.
I can't even blame him, honestly. Try to shoot a shot.
Hey, I don't blame him.
I was saying, hey,
she is a very beautiful woman, and she is single. So,
what I'm laughing at is the fact is you bring up this segment and you just seem so just like defeated by bringing it up. You were just like, Mercedes, okay. This is that long drawn out breath. And the funny thing is, and I'm with you, Cam. I'm a huge fan of Mercedes. You know this. I've made that very well known here.
Everybody here is, yep.
But what's funny is you watch this segment, and literally 3/4 of this segment is Mercedes all by herself going CEO, and nobody else is doing it. Like, you would think her bodyguard, Camille, would at least be going CE, or at least mouthing it. Everybody's just standing there like, and excuse my language by saying this, but what the fuck are we doing here? Like, why? What are we doing here?
Yeah,
we decorated.
People were definitely just there to be there.
We spent a half a day decorating this room to make it look like this, as good as it does, and for 30 seconds, it's her standing here going CEO 50 times. We just wasted our fucking time. Like, I do. I love Mercedes. But, God, she...
So here's why I sounded so defeated. It's not even that. The reason I sounded so defeated is because what are we doing with Private Party? They're sitting back there taking shots and yeah, let's party. What are you partying for? What have you done?
It was water.
It's like, dude, Private Party is one of the most talented tag teams they have on part of their roster, and they've done nothing.
Agree.
Yeah.
Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Who have they beaten?
I absolutely do. And those two are some of the most like nicest guys that you could ever meet. But ever since they came to AEW, like what have they done?
Beating the
Like-
Young Bucks. They've beaten the Young Bucks in the
Yeah,
first
but they-
AEW Tag Team Title Tournament. They were seeded number 16, and the Young Bucks were seeded number 1. And this was Private Party being Lehigh University going up against Duke.
I
And
don't
they
know how you
beat
remember all that, but okay.
So back in 2000, I think it was like 2010. I think it was 2010. Lehigh University is a college in my area here, and they made the NCAA basketball tournament. They were seeded number 16, and they beat Duke in the first round. Duke was seeded number 1, and they won. Yeah, that's why I say that.
Those two definitely should have been more high profile than what they are right now. Like those two.
Private Party should far beyond. They should be at least 2-time tag team champions already.
Yeah.
At least
by now.
One, give or take one. Give or take one time. And if not, they should at least be trios champions one time. At least.
It wasn't working, and then they got put with Matt Hardy, and then they were Hardy Party, and it seemed like it was going somewhere. They turned them heel, that went nowhere. And I get it. Mark Quinn got hurt, and he was shelved for a very long time. Right. But then they came back, and it seemed like they were trying to put together something, because they had them in the ring, and we've seen them have a match since Mark Quinn has gotten healthy, and then it just went nowhere again. It just got dropped again. So I don't understand it.
Then FTR and the Hardy Boys showed up, and that was it.
That's so I don't know
what happened.
So I have no idea what's happened with Private Party. Is that like stuck in your head now?
Kinda is. Well, no, it's more so stuck in my head. It's how defeated you are bringing this segment up. Like, I can't get that out of my head. Just this drawn out breath, man.
But yeah, so, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But next we then had Mariah May. She announces that her championship celebration, because she is the new AEW Women's World Championship. She beat Toni Storm at All In. She says that it is postponed. She said she will not do it in this town, and she says that what we all desperately need, is some glamour. Now she comes out in this like silk robe, and I didn't know where this was going. Now when she says this, and then she says that she's taking her robe off, I ain't gonna lie to you. I got flashbacks to a foregone era, in particular the WWE, back when we had bra and panties matches and exposés and all this stuff like that. That's what I'm thinking was getting ready to happen. I'm like, what is happening right now?
Where's the?
So I wasn't really sure what was going to go down when she dropped the robe, but yeah.
Where's the pool full of pudding? Say that 5 times fast. Where's the pool full of pudding? Right?
Yeah. So
or Jello, or whatever they used.
If anybody didn't happening, it was Tony Schiavone. When she dropped that robe, he was like, "Oh my goodness!" Look, that was a great segment, wasn't it? Look, in all seriousness, I thought Mariah did a fantastic job. I thought she did, and I'm not talking about what happened, like the actual physical act of what she did. The promo was very well spoken, and yeah, she just did very well for what she was out there to do. Now, hopefully, this doesn't happen every single week. I do want to see her actually, maybe have a celebration to where, we can see a Tony Storm return or something like that to get a possible rematch for the title. I don't know, but personally, I think Tony Storm is probably going to be stepping away for a little while because she really did a great job with that title and she deserves a break. But yeah, I mean, Mariah May, she did good things tonight in more ways than one, and we'll see where things go.
Hey, Mike,
I-
you get
yeah.
ready to be get ready to be pissed at the next thing I say. How much you gonna bet the next person she faces is Hikaru Shida?
I mean,
Look at the pattern of every champion that has ever won the title. Look at the transitional wrestler that she has been recently.
you did this
I guarantee it.
because you know I'm a huge fan of Hikaru Shida. Dick. Anyways, I mean, I wouldn't be upset if Hikaru Shida was a challenger. I mean, it'd be obvious she's not winning the world title. Even if she were to get a shot. Like I said a couple weeks ago, AEW kind of took their bigger women stars and put them in the position of their secondary title. Mercedes Moné, Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, Hikaru Shida, TBS Championship. And then you look at the AEW Women's World Title, and not saying that Toni Storm isn't one of their bigger stars, but Toni Storm, Mariah May, I mean, Jamie Hayter will probably be in the AEW Women's World Title hunt. A lot of their stars that you would think would probably be in the TBS title hunt being in the AEW Women's World Title hunt. They kind of flipped it. It's almost like a test of, let's see what we can get out of this. And it's been great so far. It has been good reactions from fans, not only online, but in crowds and everything like that. Mariah May winning that title was huge. It was. Now it's the question of what is she going to do next? Toni Storm will probably be away for a while. Will they probably keep the title on Mariah until Toni comes back? Probably. That rivalry is not over. It's far from over. Because if you go back to All In, Toni Storm couldn't do some things that she wanted to do. The shoe. She couldn't do it. I think we're going to get to the point where Toni Storm, just like... I really don't want to say this because I don't want to take away from anything that happened. Can I come back to my thought to add into this until we get to a certain point of this show?
Yeah.
Because I have something to add into this, but I don't want to, get there yet. So I'm going to save this thought, and then I'll give this thought when we get to this certain point of the show.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
But next we got the newest signing, the newest tag team signed to AEW. My guys, Grizzled Young Veterans, GYV. They issued a warning to everyone in the locker room. I'm loving them. Like I said, I love them. I saw them at All In. They're great. I definitely think this is what the tag team division needs. They need some new blood. They need a new direction, and I think these are the guys to do it. Really, I do. I think WWE. I think they dropped the ball with these guys. They should have just let them be them. And this is their time to really break out and really do something special. And them versus the Bucks, I think is going to be awesome. That's going to be amazing. So yeah, I love those guys, and I can't wait to see what they do in AEW. But the next match we had was, of course, a debuting Ricochet versus Kyle Fletcher. This being Ricochet's pretty much, I guess, his debut match. His debut match for Dynamite. His first official match was at All In, the Casino Gauntlet match. Once again, another sound match from Ricochet. He's doing great stuff right now. Now for me, and I want to ask you guys this question. Do you guys think that Ricochet coming to AEW, do you think this is a game changer, or do you think differently? Because I mean, for me, I don't think it really is. I don't think it's a game changer. I think right now, I think Ricochet's style was not WWE. He stood out because that's not the way WWE does things.
Perfectly said. Yep.
And I think him coming to AEW, he fits in maybe a little too much because now I think he has to find a way to stand out. The one match, probably the only match that I really want to see him have is against Will Ospreay because I think it's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Whether it's for the International Championship or not, I definitely want to see that match. I think it'd be great. So this was a great match. Obviously, Will Ospreay coming out and was getting ready to throw out the challenge to Ricochet. And of course, then he gets attacked by Pac. Now, when I seen Pac and just seeing the image of Pac in Ricochet on my screen, I said, okay, now there's another match that I would like to see as well, Pac versus Ricochet. So it's not that it's not that there's not a stacked roster of people that I would like to see Ricochet face. It's just Will Ospreay is at the top of that list right now. So me personally, I'm more so looking forward to what Ricochet can bring in terms of something different that we didn't see in WWE. Personally, I'm curious to see if it's even possible for him to pull off a heel turn. That's kind of what I would like to see. So
I have a thought. I have a thought. I don't know if Phil wants to go first on this one.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Okay.
I want to, form my thought for a second before I speak.
So here's the thing: is with Ricochet, do I think he's a game changer in AEW right now? No, because everything he's doing, we've seen in AEW already. We were doing. Obviously, I watch AEW with Scows and Will and Jax, every Wednesday night, and we had a little bit of a over under type of thing on how many backflips Ricochet was going to do, and the over under was 3. Everybody said over. Within the first minute, he did 3 backflips. 3. We see that in AEW matches all the time. It never fails. Do I think he's a game changer in that factor? No. When you look at the Ricochet promo video we got earlier in the night, they literally put together a highlight video of Ricochet, a 60-second highlight video of Ricochet from just one arrival, and that was from All In. So that goes to show he is a highlight reel, because they gathered that together from just one showing, which is nuts. That's crazy. They didn't have to go anywhere else. They didn't have to go to his days, if he was in Lucha Underground, WWE, NXT, nothing. They didn't need to go to that. One show, one showing. That was cool. Very, very articulate of AEW to do as far as game changer, but no, because we see it all the time. Ricochet is the new item in town. And we've seen this many times in AEW. We've even seen this in WWE at times, where we get a new star. They're the nice, new, shiny person. But it's in some way, shape, or form at some time, if the plans do not, get boosted immediately, then we end up seeing them get put on the back burner. And it's in AEW in particular. If a star comes in and is not going after a title right away, then they get put on the back burner until plans come arise for them. And it's been happening. Sadly enough to say, and I hate that I'm saying this because I love Ricochet. When we talked about him on Monday Night Raw for the table spot, Cam, you heard me say it all the time that I loved Ricochet. Huge fan of him. He was sometimes my favorite part of the show. Sadly enough, I see him within the next 12 months ending up in Ring of Honor. I do. We're gonna get him. We're gonna get him in Ospreay. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen quicker than it needs to, because they can build that. Ospreay was challenging Ricochet while Ricochet was still in WWE. That means we're gonna push to it. They already hinted it tonight. We're gonna get to it sooner than it needs to happen. With that being said, it's gonna happen too fast. But then what do you do with Ricochet after that? Because is he gonna beat Will Ospreay for the international title? No. Ospreay's making the international title just as important as Orange Cassidy did. and there's a chance Ospreay might do it better. So for them to take it away from Ospreay and put it on Ricochet it wouldn't be a mistake, but at the same time it would be. That's why I have a feeling we're gonna get to the point in these 12 months we may see Ricochet in Ring of Honor, doing Ring of Honor stuff. Sadly enough. Now, the point that I wanted to get to, and this is what I wanted to hold out on real quick, and this goes back to Mariah May and Toni Storm. We've seen Will Ospreay come out, was getting ready to talk to Ricochet, and then Pac came out. Will Ospreay's gained a lot of confidence back since Sunday. He finally did the Tiger Driver. What pushed him to do that Tiger Driver? He went to Bryan Danielson and got the stamp of approval. He got his, do it. Why I'm going to say Toni Storm. This is the thing is Toni Storm, it's going to tie in with the same thing. She couldn't do the shoe. She is going to, at some point, I think we're going to see her go to Mina. And Mina's going to give her the approval to do the shoe thing to Mariah. We're going to see a mirrored storyline, but in the women's division. That's why I wanted to save until we got to Will Ospreay.
In terms of how personal that feud has gone between Toni and Mariah, I would not hate that whatsoever. Because you have that middle person in Mina Shirakawa, and Mina is gonna show her alliance or, her, resemblance of who she sides with one way or another. So if they do that, then that's perfectly fine with me. It's just a matter of how they execute it.
Well, it's just going to be just like with Bryan Danielson. She's going to see Mina. She's going to walk up to her. She's going to say, "You," and I think they'll do it differently, though. The difference is Bryan Danielson said, "Do it. You got to do it." Mina, I think, is going to go up to her and say, "You know what you got to do."
Yeah, you
can't do with that shoe.
Got to be something different.
Yeah, but Ricochet, I mean, I'm with you, Cam. I don't think he's going to be anything different than what we're already seeing. Does he stand out right now? Yeah, because he's the new shiny toy. But give it three months. And if they don't do anything important with him, he's just going to be another person on the roster, sadly enough.
Yeah.
Sadly enough.
Yeah. I definitely fear that as well. But the ending to his match, though, I've never seen him break out that finisher before. It was an elevated reverse DDT. He calls vertigo.
Because WWE didn't allow him to do it.
Ah, okay. So there you go. So it's something new. Like I said, I'll give it an opportunity. But I really don't see him doing anything significant in AEW, at least not for a while.
Look, I want to talk about that thing because I think the word game changer just needs to stop. Personally, maybe. I do, because every single time somebody comes into this company, somebody says, "Oh my God, they're going to be a game changer," and they never are. They never are. The game changer, mentality of somebody coming into AEW to me just needs to go away, because yes, Tony Khan signs a new talent. It's a brand new shiny toy for him right here, right now, and I get that, and It's great to see him in AEW. I absolutely love Ricochet. For those who don't know, Ricochet is easily one of my favorite high flyers. But like you said, Cam, there's so much in this company. He has to stand. And I'm not sure if a heel turn is going to be the thing that makes him stand out, but I'm not opposed to it. When I saw Ricochet come out here, whoa. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not just me. When I saw Ricochet come out here, I genuinely saw happiness on his face. For like one of the first few times in what I feel like is honestly for a very long time. Because in WWE, yeah, sure, he was doing some solid things on his way out, but in everything in life, and this happens to all of us in one way or another, we just feel like we've hit a wall. and we need something different. Ricochet, to me, hit that wall in WWE, and he just needed something different. And like I said, we've all been there. We've all done that. We've all had to switch something up in one way or another to feel rejuvenated. This is his chance of being rejuvenated. And he left at one of the perfect times to do it. Because he's still relatively young in the business. I believe he's in his mid-30s. So while he, in terms of how he wrestles, it might be towards, I don't want to speak for the man, but, in terms of how he wrestles, we can only be seeing him for maybe a couple or more years. Who knows? Everybody's body is different. But he wants to do this now because if he doesn't do it now and he waits, who knows what's going to happen, right? You got to strike when the iron's hot, and right now the iron's hot. So he showed off his ability in that gauntlet match, and I thought he did an amazing job in that gauntlet match. People saying that he was buried just because he didn't win it. You guys don't know what the word buried means. Stop it. Because he's perfectly fine. And he did perfectly fine in this match against Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher and Ricochet, for a first time ever matchup, they had great in-ring chemistry with each other. That match was fantastic for what it was, for the time that it got. And like I said, with the whole Vertigo finisher that he used, WWE didn't allow him to use it. So the fact that people were so shocked that move came out of Ricochet, they're like, holy shit, what kind of move is that? We've never seen this before. It's because we couldn't see it before. So good on Ricochet for that out of his arsenal. And just a really good showing for Ricochet here tonight. I don't think he's going to be a game changer by any means. But if you have creative for him, allow him to flourish in the way that he wants to flourish.
And that's the thing is, you say you hate the word game changer. Get rid of it. Don't say it. Any of that. But the thing is the word game changer being used, it fits in a sense because you bring in a new talent. Okay, let's go back to Deonna Purrazzo. Deonna Purrazzo came in, went after the AEW Women's World Title. What'd she do after that? Went over to Collision and Rampage, got into a feud with Thunder Rosa. They had a strap match. Thunder Rosa ultimately won. Now what? But Deonna Purrazzo was supposed to come in, and she gave that new feeling. That new feeling of a breath of fresh air. Because Toni Storm basically faced everybody that she was, put in front of her. Deonna Purrazzo was new. So we thought, hey, you know what? Deonna Purrazzo's, it's going to be a change of pace, a game changer in a sense. Why? Because Deonna Purrazzo, when you look at how the style of wrestling we get in AEW, even in the women's division, Deonna Purrazzo brings a different style. She brings that ground and pound type of style, something that Toni Storm really didn't see during her run. So it was a different change in the game. Same thing with Ricochet. Ricochet's coming into a company filled with high flyers. We know AEW doesn't book their big guys the way they should be booked. It's almost like if you want to see that, go watch WWE. And that's that. Ricochet needs to do something different to change up the game because everybody else is doing almost the same thing he does.
I don't disagree with that.
So you basically have to change that game. He's got to change that narrative. In WWE, here's the thing: is in WWE, he could have stood out. He could have been different. He could have done big things. The problem is they didn't book him that way.
They watered him down.
Now he's in a company to where you see 90% of the talent doing almost the same thing that he does. So he's got to do something different to change the game because of that factor. In WWE, he could have been successful. Why? Because he was different. He stood out in his own way. He could have been an Intercontinental Champion. Well, he was Intercontinental Champion before he lost to Gunther. But he could have been Intercontinental Champion again. He could have been a tag team champion and found a partner. He could have been a United States champion. Hell, we've seen Damian Priest come world champion. Why not put Ricochet in that? Why give him only one world title match in the 10 years he was in WWE? Or 8 years? Why? He could have been something different. Instead, he wasn't. Now he's in a company to where everybody else is doing almost the same thing he does. And he's got to find a way to make it different. Got to find a way to change it up, because if he doesn't, in 3-4 months, he's going to be in the same place that Deonna Purrazzo was put in.
I don't disagree.
I get the point that the word game changer disappoints you and you're not happy about hearing it, but the fact of the matter is he's got to do that.
Yeah.
I don't disagree on that. But the fact of the matter is everybody that comes into this company is apparently a game changer. Not everybody is a game changer. So, yes, people can be game changers for this company. People can elevate their game to the highest of levels, whatever division they fall under. High flyer, ground and pound, women's division, men's division, mid-carder, upper mid-carder, main eventer. You can be a game changer all you want in this company. But it's all about the booking. And right now, sure, he won his first matchup in this company. And I love that for him. Ricochet looks genuinely happy being here. But to your point, if they don't have creative for this guy, he's going to fall under the cracks. And that is what I'm scared of. So not everybody is a game changer in this company, which is the reason why I kind of don't like using that term. But people can be. It's just a matter of if they actually capitalize on that, and they always don't.
See, and here's the thing is I brought up, and I'm sorry I'm prolonging this, but here's the thing is I brought up the fact of there's a possibility we could see him doing Ring of Honor stuff if he doesn't shine as bright as he should in the next couple months. Isn't necessarily a bad thing. Why? Because there's talk about AEW going to streaming service, just like WWE is. And Ring of Honor, as far as the talks are concerned, and as far as what I'm hearing and reading, is Ring of Honor is going to be a part of that. So he can shine if he gets involved in the Ring of Honor stuff. And if he gets the Ring of Honor world title put on him, I don't see that being so much of a bad thing, because it's still a world title.
Then
if Ring of Honor is part of that streaming service stuff, like it's talked about, well, then Ring of Honor is going to finally get the shine that it necessarily has deserved over the past 3 years that Tony Khan has owned the company.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, who knows? Maybe they've got something up their sleeve and it'll probably shock all of us. I don't know, but it's definitely something to look out for sure. But next we had a backstage segment with of course Jon Moxley, and he attacks some random security guards. But the shocking turn of events then comes when a particular female that I honestly forgot she was even a part of AEW, but Marina Shafir then helps him out. So I don't know. So I guess we're having some sort of pairing with Shafir and Moxley now. So I don't know. Again, don't know where this is going, but obviously I think maybe Moxley is forming a new faction, a heel faction. I don't know. Again, what is this connection, or what is his deal with Darby Allin? We still have to see that play out. I don't know. I'm not sure where this is going. It's very interesting. It's different. Jon Moxley, he almost kind of reminds me of like a I don't know, like almost like an intellectual kind of villain almost. That's what I got from Moxley. And that's very, very different, because normally Moxley is just about creating violence and just chaos. So he's not really one that's always like speaking in riddles or just we're trying to figure out what he's even saying, because he's just not making any sense when he's talking. So that's what I got from him tonight. It's just he sounds more like he's trying to be like almost like an intellectual. So who knows? I'm not sure. I'm very curious to where this is going. And again, this is what I always preach about storytelling. This is the stuff that pulls me in for the next week, because you want to see where this is going. You want to see this play out. So I'm very intrigued as to where this is going. But Phil, what do you make of all this?
As soon as I saw Miranda Shafir, I was like, oh my God, is this another Shane type deal? Because look, if you guys don't remember, Raw Underground, that was Shane's idea.
Yeah.
That was Shane's idea. Raw Underground brought it into the fold, and then all of a sudden we saw Miranda Shafir back on our WWE television screens. And she was really one of the first ones featured on Raw Underground. Again, I had to look that up. So I just didn't, memorize that out of the blue. I had to look that up again just to make sure. And that is the truth. So that's another Shane McMahon type aspect thrown into here. I don't know if we're just going to get former WWE talent into the fold of like this new stable to do like some hostile takeover with Shane. But now that we have Maria Shafir in this with Jon Moxley, like you said, I'm intrigued. And now I want to see where they go from here. So I'm continuing to get involved and invested in this every single time they try to bring somebody else into the fold. I'm liking it.
Mike?
I hate to be a damper, but I really do. I hate to be a damper on this. But this segment came too late in the show. You started the show off by bringing Moxley out, threatening the company. Okay? You waited until 10 minutes before you went off the air to bring him back on screen just to ask him what he meant. And then Marina shows up and attacks. You could have clearly did this at the beginning of the second hour and could have had a third segment tied into this. You literally centered your show, started your show off with this, and they could have made this the storyline to build around this show. They could have. And they could have furthered this along. Because if we get to All Out, and we know All Out has a history of returns and people showing up, whatever, and we just so happen to get Shane show up at All Out, we have one more Dynamite before we get there. Are you going to do something next week to tie into this?
I hope so.
Get us to All Out? Because if not, then what the hell were you doing tonight?
You have to. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I do see your point of, them making this a whole point throughout the rest of the show. This could have been in the middle and you could have had one more segment to make this a ongoing storyline between the show. But to me, and we'll get into it, next, the whole Bryan Danielson, that was the one storyline that they were going through the whole show.
How they could have broke it down was Mox did segment 1. They could have did this in the middle of the show, and at the end of the show, they could have brought Mox back on and said, that is just a piece. This is all he had to do. In my eyes, this is all he had to do. Was that could have been the 9 o'clock segment, and then him come on at 9:50 and say, that is just a piece of what's coming. And that's it. Go away with it.
Yeah.
3 segments, short, sweet, to the point. Get us to next week and give us 2 more segments before we get to All Out.
Yeah, they definitely got to capitalize on this, and they definitely got to do something next week, because whether it happens on All Out or not, it all just depends on what they got to do. But I don't think this is just going to be a 2-week thing. I think there's going to be a lot more that adds into this, and you can't just have the, payoff moment of a possible Shane coming on in just done in 2 weeks. I think you got to do a little bit more than just that. Because it is Shane, after all. And having a McMahon in AEW is a big deal, whether you want it or not.
But gentlemen, we have reached the main event. The main event segment was with the new world champion, Bryan Danielson, obviously basically doing his victory promo. This is a solid promo. He says that after failing and trying to reach the top, he finally is now World Champion. He says that his daughter told him backstage that this is the best day ever, and he says that was his favorite moment of his career. Of course, then we have basically Jack Perry on the screen and then recorded promo, basically saying that it's basically his destiny to become the AEW World Champion. And then Bryan Danielson then gets blindsided by Jack Perry, and he holds up the TNT Championship and the AEW World Title, standing over a lane Bryan Danielson, and then we close out the show like that. So obviously the match is made between Jack Perry and Bryan Danielson. Didn't see Jack Perry being the first opponent for Bryan Danielson's world title run, obviously, but that's what we have for the main event of All Out. I'm gonna get your guys' thoughts on this promo, and of course, Jack Perry being the first opponent for Bryan Danielson's World Championship. Mike, I'm gonna start with you.
I'm just gonna be short and sweet on this one. Good job by Jack Perry tonight. That was awesome. Record your segment to get in there, attack Bryan. This is your third time going after the AEW World Championship, and I'm gonna say it right now. I would not be upset if Jack Perry wins this title. Why? Because the next contender is Darby Allin. This is your way to start off, finally get to the point 5 years in to your 4 pillars being highlighted to the full capacity. Jack Perry had a title match against Jericho at the beginning of AEW. He had a title match in the middle, I think the third year of AEW. We're in year 5. He's more serious taken now. He can win the world title at All Out. He could face Darby Allin at Grand Slam. And then if Darby wins the title, even if they rematch each other at Full Gear, he doesn't have to win it at Grand Slam. But if he were to win it at something like Full Gear, then Christian can step in with that contract and go after Darby Allin. Why? Because Darby Allin, even though the whole father storyline with Christian doesn't tie in, Darby Allin does have a pretty sad storyline that they can build off of. And we know Christian likes to build off sad storylines. And we can get to that point. Sadly enough, this pushes Swerve further away from the world title, but I'm sure we'll get Swerve back to the world title at some point. We will. We'll get him there. But that's what I feel like, and I think we should see in the next coming months as far as this world title is concerned. Bryan Danielson doesn't need to hold it long. He just needs to get it on his resume.
Neither does Jack Perry, for that matter.
Exactly.
Because of the plan is to get it on Darby Allin, and he doesn't really need to hold the title for that long either.
I mean, it's not only that, though. It's the fact of finally getting your 4 pillars that you claim to be your 4 pillars finally going. Because if you remember, we had that 4 pillars match a year ago at Double or Nothing, and that was supposed to get the jump start, which it didn't. Now you can finally get it going with having Jack Perry and Darby Allin in a pretty decently built storyline.
Yeah, because only one of those pillars has been world champion. That's MJF. So
yeah, that's it.
Phil, your thoughts on this?
I had a little tears in my eyes when I heard that this man was actually about to retire for a second. Like, I literally thought it was happening right before my very eyes. And honestly, at that point in time, he held the championship. He got it on his resume, and that would have been a great way to do it. But I'm so glad that he's not. I'm so glad he's going to be fighting for this. And like you said, I was not expecting Jack Perry to be his first, competitor for the championship. But at the end of the day, I'm not mad at it because you're going to have great heel heat in Chicago, obviously, because it's Jack Perry, and it's a harmless, AEW World Championship match to do, with 2 weeks being the build for the show. Now, with Jack Perry potentially winning the championship, I highly doubt that happens, and that's just me speaking. I don't think that happens, but who knows? Anything's possible. And we'll see where things go. I do agree that Bryan Danielson does not need to hold on to this championship long because, getting it on his resume is just the biggest thing enough, And he did say that once he loses this championship, he is done with full-time in-ring competition. And, we'll see Bryan down the road. But I'm super happy that Bryan Danielson is on top of the AEW mountain, so to speak. And yeah, this is just a really, really good segment. And I cannot wait to see what Bryan does with the title. But I do see Darby Allin winning that AEW World Championship down the line. I don't know if it's going to be at Grand Slam, but like I said in other weeks on this show, Wrestle Dream. Wrestle Dream to me is going to be the destination where Bryan ultimately retires from full-time in-ring competition and puts somebody over big. Whether that's Darby Allin, whether that's Swerve Strickland again, whether that's whoever's going to step foot in the ring with Bryan Danielson, to me that's where he retires in his home state of Washington and goes off into the sunset.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that would be poetic, honestly. I mean, what better way to end the year and end his career on top? So, but yeah, we'll definitely see where that goes. But gentlemen, that's all I got for you tonight for AEW 8/28, because it's now midnight, but 8/28, 2024. And yeah, so now it is time to plug yourself. So, Phil, we're gonna start with you. Where can we find you?
TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at @Flema_. You guys can also follow me on YouTube. That's right. I'm on YouTube now. Just my name, Phil Weemet. But yeah, I'm just trying to get myself going with YouTube. We're on the road to 100, and I believe we are at 72 right now. So we're getting there. 100 is not too anything crazy, but again, I did just start the channel, so it's nothing. So we're gonna try to grow that, and tomorrow will actually be my AEW All-In review. I recorded a couple of days ago, but I'm uploading it on Thursday because of, time constraints. But yeah, we're doing some good things over there, and we're just trying to grow. So, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, Philly Met.
Mike?
Metal Mike 714 all across the socials, X, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. As far as on the networks here, you can find me back here. You still hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
You
You
can
froze
find
for a
me.
second.
I don't know what's going on with my camera. But anyways, back on the networks here on Sunday for Red Zone at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as me and John get you ready for week 1. We took the week off last week. It was our last episode of the preseason 2 weeks ago. So we are getting you ready for week 1 this week. And then Table Spot will be back Monday night at 11:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time after Raw. And then back here on the Boom next Wednesday.
As for me, you can find me on, of course, TikTok at Call Me Cam G, and of course Cam's Wrestling Corner, and of course Cam's Square Circle Mania. And then you can find me on Twitter /X at Cam and Cheese 317. And then if you could find me on Instagram at 317 Bacon, Eggs, and Cam. And as I always say, I love and appreciate all you guys coming out, checking out the stream today. Love, peace, and prosperity. And we are out.